Hello, my name is Kaylee Jean Edwards, and this is the introduction to my anthropological study of Berrien Springs High School. I am a senior at Berrien Springs High School. I believe it was last year that Berrien Springs High School obtained a new mission statement. Together, inspiring students to think, learn, achieve, and care in a global community. This sparked an interest within me, and since I am now a teacher's aide and it is easier to observe students and the teachers, I think that this was a perfect opportunity for me to really observe my school and the workings within it. In my project, I shall cover high school cliques, the relationship between these cliques, and also the unwritten rules of high school conduct that I observe. Along the way, I shall test this mission statement to see whether or not it's upheld.
Now for my previous research. One study that I read about was surveyed nearly 600 boys and girls from 4th grade to 12th grade. And in high school, well specifically 12th grade, about 90% of the cliques were one race or one ethnicity, and only 10% of them were mixed. And in a book I've read about different types of cliques that there are, and they're the typical ones that you see, like the jocks, nerds, burnouts, etc. Jocks being the cool people who excel at sports, etc. And the geeks being the brains who, the typical picture of a geek is glasses, book, computer, calculator, pocket protector, etc. And the burnouts are the people who just are never really at school. They skip a lot, and a lot of times they're into drugs, etc. Also, from my research, I watched a bunch of movies, specifically movies like Mean Girls, which is a very popular movie illustrating high school life. And here you can see the clips of the different cliques within the cafeteria, etc.
Now for my methods. Well, as I mentioned before, I am a teacher's aide at Berrien Springs High School. I help out Mr. John Vitek, who, I might add, has a degree in anthropology as well as other subjects. Basically, I observe student and teacher behavior. I also interviewed students and teachers alike.
Berrien Springs High School, home of the Shamrock. This is where I interviewed people and also observed the social cliques that people have gotten into. Now let's see what I've found.
Okay. I'm doing a study of the cliques and groupings within a high school. Do you guys believe that you belong to any cliques or groups of people?
I really don't. I just think I'm everywhere all the time. I hang out with everybody.
It's open. It's open note.
That seems to be like a just travel.
Well, even though you're not, do you believe that there are still those groups of people within this high school?
Of course. I think at any school you're going to have cliques. Less so in this school than I think in a lot of other schools that I've seen. Where in other schools, there sometimes could be the preps or the jocks, or the rockers, the punks. And in this school, it's more of an ethnic kind of grouping. Even though there is some preppy sports kind of cliques, in this school you also have the ethnic cliques that hang out because of the wide diversity we have.
Indeed, this is what my own observations have reflected. In Berrien Springs High School, there aren't very many typical high school cliques. Instead, they are basically racial cliques. While there are a few exceptions, mostly Asians hang out with Asians, white people hang out with white people, etc. However, I also noticed that the groups don't have very much tension between them unless it's something very personal. I have noticed a few typical social cliques, such as the people in sports are higher up generally. However, there are mostly just social hierarchies within cliques themselves. And generally, these are the racial divisions that I before mentioned. As for the workings within them and how they get along, the thing that I have most noticed is that if you're not a Christian, it is very difficult to interact with people. I am not a Christian, and I have experienced this firsthand. Berrien Springs High School is located in Berrien Springs, Michigan, and thus it is mostly Seventh-day Adventist. And while Seventh-day Adventists are very nice people, they are slightly standoffish when it comes to something they're not used to, especially if they're young teenagers. I also interviewed some students from other high schools, and their high schools are primarily white, and so their cliques are more based on abilities in sports and ways of defining themselves, and are definitely more toward the traditional, stereotypical clique. I will try to keep this as brief as possible since I am almost out of time. I apologize for that. Basically, what I have learned is very surprising to me. I had always thought of my high school as a typical high school with the typical cliques. However, I have realized more than ever that they are different. Instead of having typical cliques, it's more racially divided, and it's not really divided as much as naturally segregated, and also people get along fairly well here. However, I have noted that one major factor in whether or not people get along is religion, and also sexuality, but I don't have enough time to talk about that. Oh, and as for the mission statement, I have definitely realized that the global community part is correct throughout this. As for the inspiring students thing, I'll leave that up to everyone else.